Hey folks, welcome to Lone Pine Tarot, and thank you so much for choosing to join me for our pick a card reading today, whether you're new to the channel or you're returning from before. As you can see by the title you just clicked on, today's topic is quite straightforward. We have a good old-fashioned what is coming next for you type of reading, aka predictions and advice for your near future. So with that in mind, let us choose our piles for today's message. Once again, we're choosing with 3 different tarot decks. For my wonderful pile number 1 over here on the left, your deck today is the Wild Reflections Tarot. And here is your world card from your deck today. From a wonderful pile 2 here in the middle, your deck of choice today is the Spacious Tarot. And here is your beautiful world card. And last but not least, from my wonderful pile 3, over here on the right, your tarot deck today is Tarot for the Great Outdoors. And here is your lovely world card depicting Glacier National Park. So just to reiterate, pile 1, Wild Reflections, pile 2, Spacious Tarot, and pile 3 over here on the right, Tarot for the Great Outdoors. Though as I always say, you're perfectly welcome to pause right here if you need more time to decide what pile you would like read for you. But when you are ready, drop down into the description box below, find the timestamp for your pile / your tarot deck, and I will see you in our exciting discussion about what is coming next for you, your predictions, and your advice for the near future. See you in your readings, everyone. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 1. Welcome to your pick a card reading. What is coming next for you message for today? And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to the Wild Reflections Tarot as your deck of choice. Now, the reason why I chose the world for each pile leader today is because I asked Spirit before the readings, what is a card that you want to represent a message for each pile collectively? And as you know, the world came out, and the world in tarot tends to represent a time when a chapter is coming to a close, when one door is closing and another is opening, kind of pushing back the old to make space for the new. So just at the beginning here, I want you to keep that theme in mind, because I think that is reflective of every pile today, is a lot of things coming to a close and new doors opening for new opportunities. Beautiful. So let's put your world card back into the deck and grab your tarot spread to begin. Calling on Spirit today for my wonderful pile 1. Tell us more about what's coming next for them. Predictions, advice, things you want them to know. Thank you. What is coming soon in pile 1's life? Couldn't tell. Looks like one card flipped over, but I couldn't see. Doesn't look like it did, so we will pull the traditional way then. And let's take a look at your first tarot spread. So first tarot card today is the High Priestess. She is all about mysteries and secrets and following our intuition. Maybe you've been having a really, really strong gut feeling lately, pile 1, especially because she's the first card of your spread today. Like, I don't know, maybe you recently had an idea that popped forward and you have no idea where it came from. You're like, where did this idea or this thought suddenly come out of the blue from? But I think that's part of what is leading into your next chapter here. Let's look at your other cards. We have the 9 of Wands reversed. Okay, maybe we've also been feeling a bit tired lately, running out of steam with something. Okay, that's probably part of your advice. Then we have the King of Cups as your heart of the matter. Beautiful. Following your heart will be key in this next chapter. Then we have the 2 of Pentacles reversed. Some themes regarding balance, especially with finances, resources, and career. We see that as well. And then last but not least, we have Strength reversed. Okay, so it's probably also another advice card, especially when cards come up in reverse. I tend to read them as, sometimes predictions, but sometimes advice too. So I'll talk over your tarot spread as I draw your oracle cards today, pile 1. What I'm seeing is, yes, as I said at the very beginning, the High Priestess indicates that we're kind of coming from a time of like, we've been getting a lot of intuitive downloads. I feel like maybe, as I said, you have recently gotten an idea that kind of came out of nowhere, or an inkling that felt like it came out of nowhere. Now, I think the idea might be regarding something that you've been really tired about or you've been working on, but it feels like your determination is running out of steam. We see that with the elements that the Nine of Wands reversed takes into play here, being the second card, influencing the energy of the first card there with the High Priestess. So maybe there's been a project at work where you've been just really it's just so tiring. You're like, I don't know if I could do this anymore. Or maybe it's the job in general. You're like, man, I can't stand this job anymore. Or another group that you're in socially, maybe that's part of what's been going on too. Wherever you've been feeling like you're tired and running out of steam, that's kind of an indicator as to where this idea is coming from very soon, that intuitive download, so to speak, from the High Priestess. And where it's taking you, pile 1, is indicative, or I should say the King of Cups is indicative of, phrasing that correctly, that it's regarding following your heart in some way, because the King of Cups is someone who not only knows what they want internally, especially when it comes to relationships and their feelings, because that's what the cup suit represents in tarot, but unlike the Queen, he actually puts that into action in some way. So I think deep down, there's really that inkling that you had from the High Priestess, that idea that you had. It seems like it came out of nowhere, pile 1, but really what that King of Cups tells me as a tarot reader is that your heart's been holding on to it for a while. It's just you haven't felt ready necessarily to announce it yet, okay? But look at what he's doing in that card. He literally takes, I think that's a conch shell technically, and he's like blurting it out to the world. Hear my cry, this is what I want. So whatever that goal or idea has been, that will help you move away from that feeling of tiredness or that running out of steam, that is the main theme of your next chapter. Is I'm going to announce this thing to the world of, I'm going to say, I don't know if I want to necessarily do this thing anymore, but here's my new idea. I'm going to go forward with that. Or here's this new dream I have, or new goal I have in mind, or new relationship I have in mind. Of course, taking in the meaning of the King of Cups being, as I said, the water suit. And I'm going to announce that to the world. I'm actually going to put it into action. And when I say announce to the world, doesn't mean literally saying, opening your window and saying, hey, everybody, I'm going to do this, right? It'd be kind of cheesy, but I mean, you do you, pile 1. But by announcing it, what I really mean is, kind of setting your intention to the universe. Okay, this is the direction I want to go in now. So like the world says, as our pile leaders today, it's kind of closing one chapter and opening a new chapter. And this chapter is you moving away from something that has been making you feel tired and that running out of steam sensation towards, what do I really want to do with my heart? What does my heart say? Now, you do have some advice here with the last two cards, with the Two of Pentacles reversed and the Strength card reversed. I will explore those in just a little bit because your oracle cards, of course, too, will provide more context and advice, and I want to see everything in totality before I expand on those. But that is kind of the energy I'm seeing here. It's a little bit more of an introspective time, a little bit more of like listening to your heart more rather than so much outward focus. I feel like maybe lately, because you've been so tired, you've been perhaps having a hard time up until this point really tuning in with yourself and listening to yourself, because you just, stress does that, right, pile 1? You just get so stressed out, you get so tired, and you're like, man, I don't even have time to sit down with my own thoughts and ask my heart, what do you want? Because you're just trying to focus on like the main survival of day to day, those things, right? Totally normal, totally understandable. So that will also change here. Being able to introspect more, having more time to introspect here in the next chapter. And I'm curious what it is that you feel like you're running out of steam with or running out of determination with, but the general feeling behind it, I'm sensing intuitively, is this frustration. I feel like frustration is the main element kind of fueling that, but yeah, let's look at your oracle cards too. Try to pick them up gingerly here. We already had one that kind of revealed itself. We have the Star, which, if you didn't already see that, it says guaranteed success, pile 1. So I will tell you this, whatever you are tuning into as your next North Star or Polaris to follow, your inner guidance, what your heart says, I guess, connecting that to what we discussed before, you're going to have success with it. I do say that because of the Star, which is beautiful. And then let's look at your other tea leaf. We have the Jug. A lighthearted, carefree time. Yes, okay. That's kind of what I already said before, so I apologize if it's a bit repetitive, but synchronicity-wise, as I was saying, it's like we're finally moving from this period of time where we're really tired. We don't even have time to like ask ourselves, what do we want? What am I doing? You know, it's just one of those periods of time in life where it's just so focused on survival and just getting through the next day that you just didn't have that time to introspect. But now things open up. We're lighthearted. We're more carefree. Things are a bit easier. Okay. Then from the Pastoral Tarot, we have the Knight of Wands. Beautiful. So that is another good indication that you're taking action here soon, or will have the opportunity to, towards something that you are passionate or ambitious about, because the Knights in Tarot, pile 1, are people that take action. They go forward to do something, just like this man here is ready to lasso something. Some sort of creature, I assume probably another horse, right? He's like, I have that goal in mind, I know what I want, and now I'm going to take action. I'm going to whip my lasso around, and I'm going to actually try to hook that thing in. And wands in tarot are the fire suit, and fire in tarot is all about our ambitions, our passions, what it really makes us feel alive in terms of our purpose and what we care about, you know, especially when it comes to work. And, like, our goals in life. Not necessarily for the purposes of money. That would be more if Pentacles had popped out, right? But, yes, wonderful. Another thing, if you've been waiting to pull the trigger on this pile 1, if you've already kind of know what this idea is, this near future here, the next month or 2 or so, would be a really good time to pull the trigger on something, because not only we have guaranteed success, wonderful, right? But the Knight of Wands is also indicating that it would be a great time to take action on something, because that's what they do, like I said. They go forward. He's like, I'm ready to do that thing. Okay. Then from Woodland Wardens, we have the Dragonfly and Pansy with Balance. Okay, that is very similar to what I was going to talk about with your Two of Pentacles reversed, because literally, spoiler alert, Two of Pentacles reversed represents maybe having some issues trying to balance something. So we'll talk about that in a second. Beautiful. And then from Sacred Destiny, you have Love. Wonderful. With the wild roses. They kind of look like peonies, too. Peonies and roses, perhaps. Beautiful. Okay. Something that you love to do. Speaking of the heart was already a theme there because of that King of Cups, but now we have love come in, too. And I don't really see that necessarily. I mean, well, for some of you, it could mean that you do have some, like romantic success coming in, you know, or like platonic success coming in if you're not really focused on romantic relationships right now. Like, say if you've been wanting to make new friends, be a really good time for it here in the near future. Or same thing too with romance. If you've been looking for a new partner, if you've been trying to date, trying to look for success in that area, or if you're already currently in a relationship, of course, seems like it's a good time for that to blossom as well to greater heights than whatever particular situation you're in with those relationships right now. So beautiful. But I do see the love more for most of you as something that reflects that thing in the heart that you wanted to do, something that you love to do. Okay, so for those of you especially that maybe are moving from or have been considering moving from a situation where you do something that you don't love as much towards, okay, now I'm going to orient my direction towards what I actually love to do. This next chapter is perfect for that. You do, however, have some advice. What is really emphasized here is balance. As I said, you have the Two of Pentacles reversed, and you have the Dragonfly and the Pansy with, once again, the theme of balance. I think if there's anything you need to just be aware of in this next chapter of yours, it's don't take on too much at once. I know you're going to be really excited about this. You're going to have success with it. That's wonderful. And oftentimes that's like the rocket fuel we exactly need to just speed way forward and be like, okay, I'm ready, universe. Let's go forward with this. Same thing with the Knight of Wands energy. Once again, you're a rocket just ready to go off after that thing once that opportunity comes in that you love to do. Makes total sense. However, don't rush too fast, because I think you might have a tendency to kind of just take on too much at once, which is good in terms of how it reflects on how responsible you are and your skills, pile 1, but at the same time, Spirit's saying, let's just kind of just hone your focus down a little bit more. So if you had not just balance as a piece of advice, but as like a secondary, like sub-point advice here with that balance, it's to make sure that you hone focus here. just like the Knight of Wands is focusing on one horse to lasso, one thing at a time. Keep that as your mantra in this next chapter. Don't try to do too much. Focus, okay? Beautiful. And then next we have the Strength card reversed, and that, my friends, quite straightforward. You know, we think of strength as like literally the physical action of being able to manipulate, control, or like push things or pull things, whatever. But strength in tarot tends to represent our inner strength, not our outer strength. And reversed, what it means is that you might have a tendency in this near future to not believe in yourself enough. You might have a tendency to feel like a lack of courage. So some of you, yes, I said this, I think eventually you'll get to the point of like the rocket fuel moment where you're like, okay, I'm ready, time to blast off to the moon or Mars or whatever, with whatever this goal is. But initially you might hesitate. You might have that little niggling doubt of like, oh, I don't know. I don't know if I'm brave enough for this. I don't know if I want to go for this. But I think this is why Spirit is reaching out to you today, specifically why you were most drawn to this pile, is because they want you to know that there's a lot of good blessings should you overcome that initial lack of courage because of things like guaranteed success and, you know, doing the thing that you love. And of course, too, with Jug, a lighthearted, carefree time. It means things are going to get a bit lighter. Things aren't going to be so emotionally dense and probably not as like mentally dense, at least in terms of the stress upon your heart and your soul and your mind here in the near future. So they want this for you. They're like, we know that something might come along where you kind of maybe doubt yourself at first, but if you overcome that through the advice of the Strength card reversed, because that's what that says, and make sure, focus, don't take on too much at once. That's the other thing, right? You'll have a really good time. Beautiful. Now, to cap off the reading, I want to just do maybe 3 more cards here in general of other things just to look forward to, other predictions and whatnot. So, Spirit, anything else about this next chapter in Pile 1's life that you want them to know? Things for them to be excited for? Things for them to look out for? What do they really need to know for their highest, best good? Thank you. Okay, that one was like, pick me, it was about ready to fall out. And then I feel like this one. And let's see, 1 or 2? 2. Beautiful. All right, final predictions, Pile 1. Drum roll, please. First card today is the Hierophant. Beautiful. Often that is about tradition, the way things are passed down. You might be getting something passed down to you in the near future. You might be learning something a little bit more traditional. Maybe that's kind of where this goal is for a lot of you. Maybe you're returning back to something that was done a certain way before, but people haven't done it that way in a while. So it's that return back to the past kind of energy, all right? Hierophant also tends to represent spiritual authority. So some of you might even have a goal in mind too here, or an opportunity to step into a role of spiritual authority in some way, whatever that means to you specifically. Then we have the 2 of Cups. All right, speaking of love, all right, I take it back. I know before I'm like, I don't know if all of you, this will be romantic. And I still see that, you know, the love is probably mostly about like doing a thing that you love. That's kind of a major theme we've had here. But, and platonic stuff too. But we have the 2 of Cups. And the 2 of Cups, as you can see, is, I mean, people getting along really well because the main theme of the 2 of Cups is harmony of the heart. So really good tidings for those of you looking for a romantic partnership, or if you're already, you know, you have a partner already. Looks like things are going to go pretty well in this next chapter for you in that area as well. I'm happy to report. Let's see what the last card is. We have the 7 of Swords reversed. Okay, now this one is kind of a tricky one to explain, but I'll just kind of hear me out. So the 7 of Swords oftentimes is about a deception of some sort or someone trying to get away with something. But the beauty is that you have it reversed, Pile 1. So what that tends to mean is something has been kind of unclear. Someone's maybe been doing something that you didn't necessarily notice. Doesn't mean that it's like a really bad thing necessarily, but it does mean someone's been kind of maybe shady or kind of hiding something. As you can see here, if you look at it upright, you know, the man is kind of standing behind the tree, like he's kind of waiting in the shadows. Kind of spooky, but I don't get bad vibes off of it necessarily. I think it's just that you're going to realize that something was going on that you didn't necessarily know, because that's the energy of it being reversed is, oh, someone gets caught doing something, or someone realizes that someone was doing something. And I think that's you, pile 1, obviously, is that you are like, oh, this thing was going on that I didn't necessarily expect. Actually, let me draw just one final card on that. I want to just hone in on that a bit. So Spirit, could you clarify just one more card in the Seven of Swords reverse? What is it that gets revealed for pile 1 here in the near future? I mean, maybe that's why the High Priestess came out in the first place, is because she, as I said, represents intuition and secrets and mystery. So I wonder if you already kind of have a sense that maybe someone was being sneaky about something. If so, pile 1, this is a really good indicator that, yes, your intuition is right. But yeah, let's pick this card here as the clarifier. The Queen of Wands. Okay, so the Queen of Wands can mean that this is about someone who is, tends to be feminine or has a lot of feminine energy and can be a fire sign because she is Wands. She could also be someone who is charismatic, comes off as very confident and ambitious and passionate, and creative is another really good term to use with the Wands cards. If you're recognizing who that person is and if that matches your intuition, pile 1, then yes, that means it's probably what's going to be revealed about someone is that exact person that you're thinking about. Okay. And then I'll draw one more on kind of what's going to be revealed here. What's going to be revealed? The Four of Pentacles. Okay, they've been holding something back. That's what the Four of Pentacles represents. It's a card of I'm going to withhold my resources or withhold something. So if you've been having a feeling that this person has been holding something back, then your intuition is correct, pile 1, and that's what's going to be revealed in the next chapter too. It can also mean if you're not recognizing that Queen of Wands as a person, sometimes it also represents times in our life where, we are exploring or like mastering something regarding creativity or confidence within ourselves. So if you have been feeling like a block in your creativity lately, or a block in terms of your goals in that area of your ambitions, creativity, passions, etc., then what's going to be revealed is why something has been blocked in terms of resources. Okay, so maybe you wanted to go forward with something and you couldn't because resources were blocked, and you're like, well, why the heck is this being blocked? The reason is going to be revealed in the near chapter, okay? Or next chapter, I should say. Beautiful. So, that was your predictions and your advice for your near future. What's coming next for you, pile 1. I hope this was helpful for you. Number 1, that's what I care about most with my readings, of course. That you walk away feeling like you've got a new tool in your toolbox to face life with your head held high and your heart full of, happiness, right? Seems like a lot of happy things coming, so beautiful. Also, hope that resonated. I hope you liked it. If so, gotta say all the old YouTube stuff, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile 1, and I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 2. Welcome to your pick a card reading today on what's coming next, your predictions and advice for your next chapter. And of course, as you recall, the deck you chose today was the Spacious Tarot. Now, I want to tell you that before I did the recordings today, the reason why the world was our pile leader was because I asked Spirit, what's a collective message that you want every single pile to know? And that was the card that came out. So the world in tarot tends to represent things finally ending, chapters coming to a close, new chapters opening up, kind of the energy of out with the old and in with the new. So keep that theme in mind for your reading today. That is one overarching theme for everybody. So seems like maybe things will finally come to a close that you've been wanting to end, and perhaps some new things will be beginning that you wanted to start. So let's first grab, of course, though, your tarot spread. Beautiful. Spirit, for the highest best good of pile 2, tell us more about their near future. Thank you. What do you want them to know? Predictions, their advice. This one right here is poking my palm, so I'm going to take that as the first. And there is 5. Let's unveil your tarot cards to begin. So first up to bat, we have the 6 of Swords. Very fitting for the world theme I just talked about, because as I said, that's about closing a door, opening a new one. And the Six of Swords is about moving forward, moving away from something. It's that energy of, I'm in one place, it's not the best place for me, so I'm going to get on a boat or a car, or even if it's not a physical move of some sort, a mental, emotional move away from something to greener pastures. Very beautiful. Then we have the Ten of Swords. Lots of air energy so far, pile 2. Ten of Swords represents something coming to an end. So once again, we have that theme, although the Ten of Swords is a bit different than the world in that it tends to represent a time where we are like completely done with something. It has tired us out. It has extracted our resources. We feel almost that there's been a dark night of the soul is the phrase I like to use, aka kind of a dark time in life that we've been in. So I wonder if the energy that you have right now moving into this phase probably too is what's fueling your wanting to like move into something new here, pile 2, is maybe you've been having a dark night of the soul recently, and of course my condolences if so, pile 2. It's never fun to deal with, so no wonder why you're kind of like, I want to move forward. I want to just get this chapter away from me. I want it to be in my past. I want it to be in the rearview mirror, things like that. So totally makes sense. Could also represent that maybe you recently have had a betrayal too. Sometimes the Ten of Swords does represent betrayals. So once again, not fun. No wonder why you're like, I need some new energy here. And then we have the Guardian of Pentacles. The Guardian of Pentacles is the Queen of Pentacles in most decks. Beautiful. Seems to be a good time in terms of career and resources, especially when it comes to how we feel internally with our security regarding those things. Then we have the Judgment. Awesome is the card of leveling up. We are moving forward to something better, and you see right now, here, there's like that door, that gateway, as I was telling you with the world. It's like closing a door, opening a new one. You're just on the cusp of entering that new world and that new door here. Wonderful. And then we have, awesome, the Five of Pentacles reversed, and it's great that it came out reversed, because that's the positive meaning, is when it comes out that way, because it represents hardships, overcome hardships in our past. So I want to tell you, I have really good news for you, pile 2. Your time of strife, whatever you've been going through recently, is coming to a close. Spirit recognizes that you have not been having an easy time. Especially with, the Ten of Swords is that really big kind of, as I said, dark night of the soul energy. It's that feeling of, man, I am so done. I'm so ready just to move forward. Six of Swords is that same feeling of, okay, maybe I even need to physically move forward. Something's not serving me anymore, so I need to go where there is greater light and greater, fertility for my ideas and greater resources for what I need. Whatever it is that you've been seeking, Spirit's acknowledging, yes, we know that you're looking for that, and we're glad to tell you you have a very, very bright future here very soon. Wonderful. Also a great forecast for, as I said, job and career, especially because of that Queen of Pentacles that came out as your Heart of the Matter card. She represents internal security with what we have, happiness with what we have. Doesn't necessarily represent really big strides in career, at least in terms of, like, I wouldn't say necessarily like a promotion of some sorts or something like that, but it does represent like stability and security. So really that's what we need at the end of the day, right, pile 2? Just knowing that we're secure and we're stable. Sometimes hearing that is literally all just the only thing we need to hear. We're just like, okay, I'm happy. So stability really is the way I would describe that with one word. And then, yes, moving forward with Judgment, leveling up in some way, moving from one plane of life to the other. And what I mean when I say that, in a tangible way is, we feel like we've been kind of in this lower world here for a while, this maybe even depression, bad luck, things like that. And Judgment is like, okay, now we're going to move up here too. It's also a really good sign of a time where we're exploring more spiritually. It can mean leveling up in a spiritual way, hence the gateway between worlds. So it'd be a really great time for you if you've been maybe considering recently, like, oh, I want to learn this new spiritual type thing. Like, I don't know. For some reason, astral projection is coming to my mind. I don't know if you're interested in that, pile 2. If you are, hey, there's a synchronicity for you. That's another nudge from Spirit. But other things like that too, like remote viewing, astral projection, as I said. It could also mean like maybe just learning more meditation. Maybe you just haven't had a lot of time to meditate lately, and so you're like, you know what, I'm going to take this time to level up in that way too, or learning tarot or other divination, whatever leveling up spiritually means to you. And then, of course, at the end, we have that Five of Pentacles reversed, as I said, overcoming hardship, especially when it comes to career and finances, because it is a Pentacles card, which is Earth in tarot. It's about our security, our stability, kind of expanding on that theme that we saw from the Queen of Pentacles as the heart of the matter. So really, if I had to pin down just like one prediction overall, of course, we're going to have more predictions than just this one, but the main one I would say for you is I'm getting to a place of stability after a time of chaos and feeling unhappy. Okay. Beautiful blessings. And then we have your oracle cards here. Let's take a gander at those. And they will help us expand, of course, more on predictions and advice as well. So far, really the only advice, because a lot of this has just been predictions pile too, but so far, if there is any advice, it would be to explore spirituality more because of that Judgment card, okay? Because you'll finally have those, at least in terms of like, you talk about like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, of course at the bottom is survival. And maybe you've been recently going through a time of period, or like a period of time where you have just been focusing on survival. Like, I just need resources. I can't focus on spirituality right now. I need to get my T's crossed, my I's dotted, soup in my bowl, and rain out of my soup. Those types of things. Survival related things. But then once you move to this stability, then it opens up this doorway to, okay, now I can focus on higher things on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I can focus on how do I feel about things, my relationships. I can focus on my spirituality, all those wonderful things. Okay. So it's opening up that doorway for you. Then we have the purse. Pay attention to your finances. Yes. Okay. So there's another financial indicator in the near future. Then we have hammock. Taking a vacation physically or mentally. You know, I wonder if some of you actually are planning a vacation too in some way. And I say that not just because of hammock, but because of Six of Swords. Literally, it's that card, as I said, of like moving somewhere. Maybe you're tangibly moving, if not just going on a vacation somewhere. Or you're being encouraged in that direction if you haven't already planned one. Of course, if that's available to you, pile two. Because especially if finances have been tight, of course, you're not probably going to be going on vacations much. But, you know, we can take vacations at home, like staycations. Even if it's as simple as just taking a day off of work when you can. You might be kind of encouraged towards that direction as another piece of advice from Spirit here in the near future. Then we have, from the Woodland Wardens, the Bobcat and Blackthorn with patience. Okay. Waiting before we strike, waiting before we do something. You've had to be very patient, I can tell you that. They're acknowledging the patience that you've had and trying to move past this hard chapter here. Then from the Pastoral Tarot, we have the Nine of Cups. Look at that, it's the wishing well. It is technically the card of wishes granted. And in general, the Nine of Cups tends to represent we are emotionally satisfied with what we have, which is very similar to the Queen of Pentacles, albeit turned more away from resources and more in terms of what our heart is happy with. Okay, not just our body, but our heart. So not only are you moving into a time here of that financial stability, but also a time, of course, of stability of the heart and our emotions. Of course, naturally, you know, when we've been going through struggles like this that we've discussed, our mind and our heart are going to be kind of askew because we're so focused on the stress of just getting through the day, making sure our finances are in order, all those tough things. But because of that stability, now you can focus on your wishes. Now you can focus on what emotionally satisfies me. Okay, so that's another level up here that like the Judgment card was talking about here, pile two, is I can level up to a point away from focusing not so much on today, but also the future. What do I want in the future? What do I wish for? All right. And then from the Sacred Destiny, blessings. Yes, okay. So, you know, I almost wonder, and I don't say this very often, for those of you that are familiar with my channel and watched my videos before, I don't often predict really lucky turns. Just because really lucky turns don't always happen in life that much. But I'm feeling for you, pile two, that there really is something lucky coming here because of, you know, blessings and like Judgment, and then the Nine of Cups. I'm going to draw some extra tarot cards on that because I am really curious. You don't have so much advice in this particular pile today. You have more about just, like, good things are coming. That's probably mostly what you just needed to hear, though, because if you've been going through that pile, too, of course, like, Spirit's like, okay, well, give them a heads up that things are going to change for the better. Spirit, why am I getting this intuitive sense that there's, like, a really lucky streak coming for pile 2? Like, what is the lucky thing going on? What's this blessing? I don't know. I'm getting a sense here. We have the Page or the Child of Swords reversed. Okay. And then we have the Explorer or the Knight, as it's known in most decks of Wands. So the Child or Page of Swords and the Explorer or Knight of Wands. Let me think about that for just a moment here, pile 2. Especially because the Crow is upside down staring at the sword. It's like a different perspective. Seeing things in a new way, especially when it comes to the way we think about things, because that's the element of air with the Page of Swords here. And the Knight of Wands. Oh, you know what it is? There's something recently you haven't been logically able to figure out how you're going to take action towards something that you're passionate about. But a blessing comes through that opens up that world or that pathway to you, and you're like, oh, that's how I'm going to get there. It could be that that's also the gateway, so to speak, of the Judgment card. Like, this Judgment literally is a gateway into this success here, this blessing regarding this thing that you wanted to take action on, but you couldn't because you're like, well, that Child of, or Page of Swords reverse energy is like, kind of, well, how the heck am I going to figure that out? It's that kind of sensation, or kind of mental strain. Especially because it's like you want to explore something, but you're unable to. But then the Knight of Wands is, okay, now I'm going to take action towards this thing because of this gateway. And if I had to pin it down to where it comes from, I'm getting an intuitive sense that the Queen or the Guardian here of Pentacles is the key. And what that means, pile 2, is oftentimes the court cards in tarot represent people too, and a Queen of Pentacles would be typically like a feminine energy, probably an earth sign, or has a lot of earth placement in their astrological charts. Someone who is down to earth, someone who is very good with money or very stable with their money, good at saving money and being financially responsible and whatnot. I almost wonder if she or they are a part of this gateway. I think they might be the one opening the door for you in terms of this blessing coming through. So if you're recognizing that as a person in your life right now, I would almost look to that person, if that's resonating, as where this is kind of coming from. Okay, that Queen of Pentacles energy. Beautiful. And then let me just draw one more card on that Queen of Pentacles. I'm curious. Let's see where that's going to. The Queen of Pentacles, what's she doing? Seven of Wands is defending. Oh, defending you from something. Okay. Yeah, Seven of Wands is defending, because you can kind of see, like, there's these 6 wands over here that are opposing in red. This white wand that's kind of sitting juxtaposed there, perpendicular. It's like she or they defend you from something. They're defending you from something, and then it opens that gateway for you in terms of a blessing that allows you to take action towards that ambition that you've had. God, I wonder if that's really been the main source of your struggle recently, too. Here, pile 2. But then she comes forward and she helps you, or they do, because I always see tarot in terms of, traditionally, like, a queen would be, like, feminine person, but we all have masculine and feminine energy in my personal beliefs, so that's how I kind of see that. So it could be a dude too. Could be. Just depending on how much masculine versus feminine energy that they exhibit to the world, right? So, just really good things coming forward for you, pile 2. Your patience will be rewarded. It seems like wishes granted, like the Nine of Cups being the wishing well, especially in terms of our heart. Lots of success here with finances and your career. I mean, there's just really not necessarily any advice. It's just kind of like things are going to get better, pile 2. Quite a straightforward reading. Most of these readings, it's like, oh, there's some advice from Spirit, like, oh, do this, don't do that. But this one is just like, okay, we've seen what you've been going through. We understand things have been hard. Things are going to get better. But for every pile today, I did want to draw 3 final cards just to kind of see if there's any like last predictions or advice that Spirit wants you to know about your next chapter. So let's do that. So let's shuffle those right now. Spirit, anything else you want pile 2 to know about their next chapter? What's coming soon in their life? Predictions, advice, things to look out for? I mean, I don't know. It might just be really positive cards here. I mean, it's good news. We have the Elder or the King of Swords. We'll talk about that in a second. We have the Strength card, blossoming in the desert. Yep, you have been through a desert, and now you finally find your oasis. Like the cacti in bloom after the rains come. At least I think that's how it works. I don't live in a desert. Anyone that lives in a desert, let me know. I assume it's after it finally rains that the cacti finally bloom, but I don't know. Where I live, it's mostly tundra most of the year, so I'm a little bit far away from deserts, but... Alright, and then we have the Eight of Cups reversed. Okay, so if there is any advice that they do have for you in the next chapter here, it's they want you to power through any reluctance you have emotionally with things through the power of your mind and having courage. I say that because the Eight of Cups reversed tends to represent a situation where we have a hard time emotionally moving on from something. I think that might just be lingering negative feelings from all of what's going on. Very understandable. Don't blame you, pile 2. I'd be the same in your situation. Spirit's kind of saying the same thing. But it would be a good idea to kind of let those things emotionally go so that you can walk into the future with a lighter load on your shoulders, because what they want you to do with this seeming lots of blessings coming is really what it is they want you to walk into that future and those blessings with courage and with just trusting that this is the right direction and that it is true. These things are coming your way, especially too with the King of Swords. A King of Swords, well, it can also represent a person because it is a court card, just like the Queen of Pentacles was. And a King of Swords tends to be older, masculine energy, air signs typically, or someone that is very intelligent, speaks very eloquently, someone who is very logical. Okay, so that could mean that they're also playing a role in this blessing coming your way. Maybe it's even a couple where it's like a female earth sign and then like masculine air sign. Maybe they're part of what's going on here. Very possible. Or it could just represent, if you're not recognizing that as a person, pile 2, that the King of Swords is just advice to, whenever you are facing doubt when it comes to leaving negative emotions behind in the past, always use logic to kind of cut through that. Because that's what a King of Swords does. He's very smart. He's logical. He cuts through illusions and he cuts through confusing emotions with the power of his intellect and his logic, okay? Especially when it comes to our external goals, because that's where the masculine energy comes in with his particular card. So don't doubt your external goals. Don't doubt what it is that you want. Don't doubt the blessings coming your way. And have courage and trust in the universe that, just like the cacti blooming, if I'm correct, anyone that lives in the desert, feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but like I said, after the rain, it finally blooms. The desert finally comes into blossom, even though it seemed like for the longest time that it would just be dry and no rains would ever come. Okay, so your rain is coming. Things will get better, especially in terms of your finances, and especially in terms of, well, just blessings in general. Goals that you have in mind, moving away from that negative energy, okay? Beautiful. Very happy to report that to you today, pile 2. Like I said, your reading isn't really so much advice other than don't be afraid to leave negative emotions in the past where you can. That was like the one thing really, and maybe, like the logic thing with the King of Swords, but otherwise it was Spirit just kind of saying, yeah, I know it's been tough, but things will get better, okay? So you're really on the cusp of, if I had to use a metaphor, it's like you've been through like a really long night, and now finally it's like the dawn is coming, and you're like, oh, okay, now I see the light. Now things are getting a little bit clearer. Things seem a little bit brighter. I can focus on things that I want rather than things that I need to do. Like before it'd been need, right? And then we move forward into the future. Now it's what do I want to do rather than what do I have to do. Okay. So, beautiful. Happy to report that. Hope that reading was helpful for you, pile 2. It's my number one goal with these readings, that you walk away feeling helped in some way, or that it resonated, or that you liked it in general. If so, gotta say the old YouTube stuff, you know how it goes, like, comment, subscribe, all that wonderful, well, stuff I'll say again, all those wonderful things, and thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our tradition on Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, full of blessings that take you far, far away from whatever it is you've been going through. That has been tough, pile 2, right? Happy to report, as I said, that does seem to be past energy now, okay? Hope to see you in the next reading. Bye, pile 2. Hello there, my wonderful pile number 3. Welcome to your pick a card reading on what is coming next, / your next chapter, predictions, advice, all that good stuff. And of course, as you recall, you were drawn to Tarot for the Great Outdoors as your deck today. Now, one message I do have for you before we draw your tarot spread is, before I recorded every reading today, I asked Spirit, is there a collective message for every single pile today? And that is why I chose the World as the pile leader, because that is the card that came out as the message. Now, the World in Tarot tends to represent times where one chapter is closing and another one is opening, or another metaphor to use is closing of a door and a new one opening. Letting go of the old to make room for the new. So I have been seeing that in every single pile so far today. That is kind of an overarching theme. So I think that might also apply to you. Keep that in mind today, pile 3, as we look into your near future here. Perhaps some of you have been hoping for a chapter to come to a close. Maybe you want some new energy to come in, things like that. So let's see what happens. Actually, I'm going to take that one card because that one really wanted to fly out. But I will shuffle the rest again here. Spirit, anything you want pile 3 to know today about their near future, predictions, advice, all that good stuff, things to look out for. Excuse me. Okay, 2, 3, 4, and there is 5. Now, let's take a gander at your tarot cards. First up to the plate, we have Death Reversed. Makes perfect sense, as I was saying. The World card represents wanting to close a chapter and a new one opening. Death is, especially reversed, representative of a time where we have been desiring a change, but the change has been slow coming, okay? So I think, because this is the first card that popped out for you today, this particular part of your life has been maybe you seeking change, you wanting something to change, hence, that new chapter message that we had with the World card. But for some reason, it feels like it's been kind of stuck. So I think that's the main, at least, theme of going into what's coming next. This is what Spirit's kind of addressing. So let's look at your second card. We have the 5 of Cups, okay? Tends to represent a time where things have been emotionally difficult, sadness of some sort, maybe even depression. We can see here, the robin trying to protect its eggs from the snake, and the snake is like, well, this looks like a great meal to me, but of course the robin, that's like, hey, I need to protect those are my babies, etc. So that's why it also can represent a loss of some sort. So I think maybe that's kind of what you've been wanting to change here, pile 3. You've been like, man, I've had this loss, this sad thing happen. Some of you, it might have even been like you lost a loved one, which my condolences if so, pile 3. That's never fun to deal with. No wonder why you've been wanting change then, especially if, since you have death next to the 5 of Cups, that can sometimes, very, very seldom does death actually represent death. But in your case, because of the 5 of Cups being next to it, I wonder if you did have a death somewhat recently in your life, okay? So that's also some of the energy leading into this that I believe will change. But let's, of course, see your next cards. Then we have Temperance. Beautiful. Temperance is about things coming back into balance again, moving forward with moderation. It's not necessarily a really fast movement forward, but it is a balanced movement forward. Then we have the Wheel of Fortune reversed. Okay, for those of you that know that can technically represent sometimes bad luck, just hear me out. That might be more of an advice card. We'll kind of see what everything says in totality there with that. Then we have the Chariot. Look at that. You have lots of major arcana here, pile 3. And for those of you that aren't familiar with my tarot readings, when I see a lot of major arcana in a spread, what that tends to mean to me as a tarot reader is that this next chapter in your life is a very pivotal one, because you have a lot of major event or life event cards here because of how many major arcanas popped out. And the Chariot specifically itself represents a time when we take control over the chaos of things. We hold on to the reins, just like the man is holding on to the dog sled here. And we rein that chaos and we drive forward after a time that feels like it's been kind of stagnant, right? So makes sense. Death reversed, 5 of Cups. Things have maybe been feeling a little bit stagnant, maybe especially because if you did like lose a loved one, as I said, things can kind of feel stagnant because we get so mired in the grief process over losing that person that, and it's okay. It's not like a shaming thing. Feel your grief, pile 3, if that applies to you, or it could have been, even if not a loved one, it might have been like losing a job or, losing something else that was very important to you. So feel that grief. It's okay that you took this time to, of course, process all of that emotionally. But what Spirit is saying here is now you're moving forward into a time of, okay, things are going to pick up again. Things are going to speed up a little bit slower at first. It's going to be a nice steady pace because of that Temperance card. But we do see with the Chariot at the very end that things are going to, okay, finally, we're driving forward. Life is moving on. The Wheel of Fortune reversed. That could also be an indicator, as I said, that this was kind of an unlucky event that happened, maybe even kind of suddenly too, with that 5 of Cups, the Death reversed, and the Wheel of Fortune as a context card, which once again makes me think of, loss of a loved one that maybe was really sudden to you. Maybe you didn't expect it, because sometimes in life we lose a loved one and we kind of see it coming depending on their health. But I think this one was out of the blue for you, if you're finding that the death does apply in that way. So that could be part of you, especially because of Temperance and the Chariot around it. It's like you processing through that unlucky event, hence the Wheel of Fortune being reversed moderately and then in a quicker way towards the end after the processing is finished. Let's look at your oracle cards too. That will provide some more context. I'm not seeing too much about your career here in the near future, pile 3. Some of you, maybe you're already retired. In that case, it makes sense as to why, it's not coming up. Or for those of you that are still working, in the, I was going to say in the working field, but that's kind of redundant. You know what I mean? For those of you that are still working, right? It just means that this next chapter isn't so much focused on work, other than perhaps the Chariot kind of just means, especially with Temperance, like, just kind of making steady progress forward, okay? So not too much in that area, and then not so much too specifically about relationships either. It's just your reading today is more of overall themes that kind of apply to every area of your life, I think. There's not really so much honing in on things. It's kind of bird's eye view, I'm thinking. Okay, I'm going to take that one because that one really just wanted to pop out. All right, let's grab your next cards here. And that's another thing that Spirit wants you to know today is you don't have to rush forward. You don't have to go very fast with this. So that is one piece of advice I'm hearing as you process this grief or whatever the loss was. Don't be afraid to take your time with it, because that's kind of what Temperance means. It's kind of slow and steady wins the race. It's a card of tackling things in a balanced manner. Just like climbing up what looks like that stone staircase here in Zion National Park. Very slow. Don't have to rush. So steady progress is also a theme here for your next chapter. Beautiful. And then we have our last oracle card here. Anything else you want to say to pile 3 today, Spirit? Thank you. Okay, this one already is just like, take me. We're going to take that one. All right, first up we have from Woodland Wardens, the duck and the chrysanthemums. Okay, so we have luck, which is interesting because just like the Wheel of Fortune, guess what number that one is? X, Roman numeral, is number 10. So it's funny, you have the Wheel of Fortune reversed, but then you have kind of basically the same card, but upright here with luck. Upright. So, that's very curious. I think that might mean your luck is turning around in some way. because of your steady momentum forward here in the near future. Let's keep going, though. I want to see what else pops out. From the Sacred Destiny Oracle, you have embracing. Got a lot about water birds, too. I don't know if, like, water birds have been a symbolic synchronicity for you recently. Of course, you know, a duck is a bit different than, you know, say a crane or a heron, but yeah, changing. Embracing when we're on the border of things, the veil being kind of thin here, because as a marsh is right on the edge of, say, a river or a lake, it's kind of that transitional period, transitional landscape between the solid ground and the more less solid water, right? We're embracing change. Things have been changing around us, but really this theme here is about embracing the change with grace, which means, you know, tackling it with moderation. No need to rush through this pile 3. Mountain Road. You are on the road to success. Which is interesting, because look at what this is right here with the Temperance card. It's literally a mountain road, or pathway at least. You see that? So another synchronicity here. Beautiful. Making steady progress with the things that we want success with. So that could be a little bit of a nudge towards career-related messages. Slow and steady. Things are going to go fine with your job or your career or whatever it is you have goals with in that area. And then the Vine. Seek out information that will help you. Then last but not least, from the Pastoral Tarot, we have the Chariot again. So you have that also repeated with the Chariot twice. So lots about just moving forward. So really, if there's one main mantra for your next chapter here that Spirit wants you to kind of lock in and memorize, it's steady progress is all I need to worry about. Just worry about one step in front of the other, okay? You're moving from a really difficult time. I can see that, pile 3. So it is totally understandable that, you know, you're not going to race forward necessarily. But there are opportunities coming for you here in the near future where you'll have the ability to take the reins and kind of drive forward. And even, too, when you look at the symbolism here of this particular chariot, he's moving from what looks like a storm. He's trying to get home before, the thunderstorm comes out on the prairie, and he's kind of just a sitting duck. Excuse the pun from your duck card. Doesn't want to get struck with lightning, right? Which does happen. I've been on the prairie in a thunderstorm. Not fun. Don't do it. Don't recommend it. But I see that symbolically as you, like, moving away from this storm. You're, like, moving away from these harsher times. And I feel like, too, you might have a fear in your mind right now where you're currently at, where you think you might not be able to outrun something or you might not be able to outpace something. But these Chariot cards that keep popping up, I feel intuitively it's like Spirit saying you are going to be able to outrun the thing that you're fearing, or you're going to be able to outpace the thing that you think will catch up to you. And I feel like for some of you that might manifest tangibly in the way of, say, what's a good example? Like maybe you fear like you're not going to get enough resources or money for something before it's due, in which case like this would be manifesting in the way of, okay, you're going to be able to outrun that. You will have the money that you need before this thing comes due. Okay, just as one example. Or it could also be an example of, like a project at work and you're like, oh my God, am I going to get it done before the deadline? That Chariot is a perfect, same thing too with Mountain Road. You're on the road to success. A perfect example of, yes, you're going to be able to beat that deadline. Okay, so it's another really good phase of your life in terms of beating said deadlines or outrunning what you think is like worst case scenarios. Okay, lots of stability here, which is also a great thing. Now, what I'm really curious about here, though, is not only, we have the Wheel of Fortune upright kind of with the duck, but reversed with over here with the original tarot card. But then we also have the Vine, which is about seek out information that will help you. So I'm going to draw some clarifier cards on both of those. I'm first going to ask about what's all this with the two Wheel of Fortunes basically here. So Spirit for pile 3, what's going on with that? What do you mean by having the Wheel of Fortune reversed and then like luck over here with the duck card? Thank you. We'll talk about that one. We have the Empress reversed. Once again, another major arcana. This is a really big, important area of your life, or phase of your life, I should say, pile 3. And then we have the Two of Swords reversed. Something to do with a choice. I don't know if you recently had some bad turn of luck regarding a choice that you made, or like you were unable to make a decision. Like it could have been possibly between a rock and a hard place kind of thing going on, especially where it comes to where you wanted growth or where you were trying to harness a sort of creativity, or it could also be related to parenthood because the Empress is technically like a motherhood card. Doesn't necessarily mean that you're a mother, but it does represent the mother energy of like nurturing something, even if it isn't necessarily a child, though for some of you it could be. I think where you've had bad luck in the past with that, whatever that is that you recognize resonates with that message, that's what's going to be like turning around here, okay? It's like avenues opening up where you will have choices in this area regarding the thing that you're trying to nurture or create. All right. And then, Spirit, can you give me one more card on that? Like, what's the luck turning towards? Because we kind of explained what was the bad luck. What's the luck? Oh, the Hermit. Voyageurs National Park. Very beautiful. Okay. Voyageurs National Park with the Hermit. More time for introspection, more time to be able to decide something. You know, I wonder if that's also part of the rushing message you have, because you have so much with the Chariot here about like racing forward, and then with the Temperance card, as I said, it's like you being able to kind of take your own pace at something. I wonder if you felt rushed in some way too. Maybe that's why you had a hard time making a decision or trying to grow something. Like you're like, I don't have enough time to even think about what choice to make, or I don't even have enough time to nurture or grow this thing the way that I want to. But for some reason, something comes forward that allows you time to introspect and actually think things through, because that's the energy of the Hermit here, pile 3, is I'm going to go within myself and I'm going to think deeply about something. Beautiful. Love that card. I'm biased because, well, it looks like home to me, but I always see the Hermit, I see Voyageurs, and I'm like, oh, it's so beautiful. Oh, it looks like home. Anyways, I get excited when that card comes out. But yeah, so that's what that means, is introspection, time for being able to slow down, but still progress, but nice and steady rather than boom, really fast. Okay, so that's the turn of luck I'm seeing. Now, in terms of seek out information that will help you, I'm curious what that's about. Spirit, anything on that? What are you talking about? I'm curious. So we have the Lovers, and then we have... God, look at all these major arcana. I swear to God. It might be like the one reading I've had in like the whole history of this channel. It's had so many major arcanas. Oh, sorry, that was the Temperance beneath. Only one fell out. So we have the Lovers... And let's see what else might come forward with that seek out information. And the Queen of Pentacles reversed. So it's someone that you have either a relationship with. Doesn't have to be romantic. I know it says lovers, but I always interpret that as either romantic or platonic. But the Lovers does indicate that you're at least close to them in some way. A relationship with, or a choice recently, which might be the same choice we talked about here with the Two of Swords reversed, regarding someone that is feminine energy, tends to be, that is an earth sign, most likely, or has a lot of earth in their astrological chart, or someone that is feminine and tends to be, being reversed could mean irresponsible with their money, not necessarily the most stable with their job or their resources, or in terms of like how they have like security for themselves. So there's some more information they want you to seek out regarding that person if you're recognizing who that resonates with, okay? There's something that Spirit is telling you that you need to seek more info on. You know, and it's interesting because the Queen of Pentacles reversed here, she's helping teach them how to rock climb. Especially when it comes to security with her, what do you call that? It's eluding me, but it's the security thing that holds onto the belt that hooks you in so you don't fall down and like hurt yourself, right? She's like, here's how you secure this. I almost wonder if they have been having issues with security recently. And they want you to look more into that regarding this person for some reason. And if I had to say for sure... It's something to do with the harmony that you have with them because of the Lovers representing harmony in some aspects, though it could also mean a choice. So it could also be Maybe you feel like you had to take a certain path with this person, like, oh, there was no choice, kind of like that Two of Swords energy we had reversed earlier. But then it's like, actually, there is another option you can take here. That's why you're being asked to seek out more information in that area regarding who this is. If you're not recognizing it as a person, because I don't always read court cards as people, they can represent that. The Queen of Pentacles reversed in that situation would mean you need to seek out more information regarding your internal security regarding finances and career, okay? Especially when it comes to relationships and choices related to said career or your stability, okay? I don't see that as like a bad thing necessarily, so I don't want you to walk away from this reading being like, oh God, I'm not going to have security. It's not that so much. It's just that it might help you, something to do with your relationships with other people, and seeking out the information will help you turn that Queen of Pentacles right side up and gaining greater stability there. All right. So just be aware of when it comes to those things. If you're not recognizing it as a person, of how your relationships affect your stability at work or with your resources, your career, etc. Seek out more information in that area, okay? Ooh, lots of different varied advice here. Kind of the most complex reading today, pile 3. But I do see overall good things. Okay, there's nothing really bad here necessarily. Especially too because like your luck is turning around because of that Wheel of Fortune and then the Duck. And then last but not least, I want to draw 3 last cards as kind of just final little mini predictions / advice Spirit has for you. So let's ask for that now, Spirit. Oh, wow, that was quick. We have the 8 of Cups reversed. So that tends to represent a time where we're having a hard time emotionally moving on from something, which if you have had a loss recently, makes total sense. This isn't Spirit saying you have to move on now, right? No, not at all. It's more just they're acknowledging that as a part of their advice. But let's see what else pops out because that'll give context. We have the 10 of Pentacles reversed. Could be a parent that you lost, perhaps. Actually, this might be a message from the parent. Also, inheritance might be involved with some of the struggle here, especially if it was a parent that was lost, right? That's typically when inheritance comes about. And then we have the 3 of Pentacles. Your teamwork with other people. If this is someone that you're recognizing as a passed on parent, pile 3, they're asking you as advice in the near future to rely on other people when it comes to emotionally processing and moving on from the grief of your loss. To find safe harbor in activities done with other people. Probably also, like other family members around you that also have felt the loss in some way, of course, especially if it was a parent, right? That affects everyone in your family. Things like that. If it's not a parent that you recognize that you lost, it could also mean that this is advice where, one second, especially because of the inheritance. If you're not recognizing it as a parent that you lost, then this card spread is more about you making sure that you don't let the mistakes of a group, because of the energy of the 3 of Pentacles, fall on your shoulders to fix or like be your quote-unquote inheritance. Okay, at least in terms of you having to feel like responsible for what goes on with a group. I don't know, it could be a work situation where like a group thing has been going wrong and like the project's going awry and it maybe feels like they might be kind of trying to point at you in terms of like, oh, well, this went wrong because pile 3 did something or like they, blah, blah, blah. Don't accept that is what Spirit is saying. Don't let the mistakes of a group, of decisions that were made in a group, fall solely on you to feel like you have to shoulder that responsibility for anything that might go wrong. I'm not necessarily saying that things might go wrong, but this might be related to that message, like I said, of evaluating your relationships at work because of the Lovers and the Queen of Pentacles reversed earlier. Could be that Queen of Pentacles reversed, if you saw that as a person, is like the main kind of person driving this group in a bad way. So just, it's not necessarily saying that things will go wrong, as I said. It's just that you might have to put your shield up a little bit more in the near future regarding a group trying to push their responsibilities off on you or blame for things off on you, especially regarding work. Okay. All right. So protect yourself, defend yourself a little bit more. That is another little piece of advice they have for you at work in the near future. Beautiful. Yes, very, very varied message today. Okay. Lots of different advice, but just, you know what? You're doing good, pile 3. I think that's just one final thing Spirit wants you to hear today is you're doing fine. You're doing everything fine. I don't see really that there's anything going on that's like of your fault or mistake. So don't beat yourself up, when maybe some of these little situations come along. I think that's why they want you to defend yourself, is because they're like, it really isn't your fault, pile 3. It's really a whole group did something, or this Queen of Pentacles energy did something. Just, it's natural bumps in life and natural things that happen that are outside of your control. And really the best thing you can do in that situation is, well, literally just to try your best. And I think Spirit is saying that you have been trying your best, and they acknowledge that, okay? So just take it one step forward, one day at a time. Process your grief. No need to just run through it or rush through it or feel guilty that you're still feeling grief in some way. No matter how long ago the loss was, whatever it was, or whoever that person was, right? Just focus on healing and nurturing yourself. Take some time for yourself too, is another message coming through because of the Hermit especially, okay? Your luck will turn around. Things will start moving again. Beautiful. Okay, so I hope that reading helped you. I hope that it resonated. I hope, of course, that you liked it, number one, okay? That you liked the whole thing, that it helped you, advice, whatnot, predictions. And so if that applies to you, please like, comment, subscribe, all that good YouTube stuff. Thank you so much if you choose to do any one of those 3 things, if not more. And as we say in our traditional Lone Pine Tarot, I wish you a wonderful rest of your day, pile 3. And I hope to see you in the next reading. Bye.